Hello, people. Thank you for watching Simple Logic TV. My name is Nelson, and I appreciate you checking out the channel. If this is your first time, I would really appreciate if you subscribe. And today, I want to talk about Alabama football against the Georgia Bulldog last night. Before a game like this start, you sit around, you're thinking about the game, and you will hope the game will start a certain way. And that's exactly how I envisioned that game starting. But since it was Georgia, I didn't think they was going to jump out on 28 points. Um, I went to the SEC championship game in December when they played, and when I watched them warm up, and come out that tunnel, I knew we was going to beat Georgia that game. I pretty much knew it. And this game, they had that same look. I just had a feeling they was going to jump out and get a little lead, not 28 points, but a lead and dominate that team. And we did dominate in the first half. Um, I knew Georgia was going to make a run in the second half. That's without a doubt. You know who Georgia is. But I had said if we scored 10 to 12 points, the game would probably get out of hand in the second half, and they wouldn't have the opportunity or the time to come back and win, especially if we sustain drives like we usually do and burn out clock. But that's not what happened. The second half showed that the more come from the Pac-10, Pac-12, whatever they call it. I don't know what it is, but I know it's Pac something. Um, he doesn't know how to burn out the clock. He doesn't understand what it takes to be an SEC coach. When you jump on a team like that, I think he had the right intentions, but whoever the offensive coordinator was, he was absolutely awful in the second half. They were running plays. They were literally running plays with 15 to 12 seconds left on the play clock. And you knew that wasn't going to work. That was way too much time to leave on the clock. They weren't burning up enough time. And you could see it in the second half when they definitely need first down and they definitely need to move the ball and score. Um, that's not going to work in the SEC. If he continue that way of coaching, he's not going to last long because teams in the SEC are going to come back, and which Georgia did. But I didn't even panic, even if we had lost that game. With the advent of the 12-team playoff, you want your team to win. But if we had lost that game earlier, I knew we still had a chance of going to the playoff. We could probably lose 2 games and still make it to the playoff because we Alabama and it's the SEC. I think our strength of schedule this year is 6. So all we had to do is cat. If we had a loss, just win out. But that style of coaching, his coaching style was terrible in the second half. I mean, that's the only way you can explain it. Too much time on the clock. I mean, too much time on the play clock. Passing the ball on first down. That you just don't do that. The first thing you want to do in the second half is get the clock moving. Even Georgia had the ball at the beginning of the second half, and Alabama got them to punt. Alabama got the ball back. It was 3 and out. And didn't burn any time off the clock. I mean, for the simple fact, if there had been a coach team, if they had been up by 28, 30 points in the first half, there's no way Georgia would have came back. They would have on a run. They would have scored some points, but they wouldn't have took the lead. I mean, it was just that touchdown where we took the lead, went up to 4-1. That was pretty much basically a miracle. I mean, that was just a miracle. One guy against 2 defenders. I guess that was just a prayer. I mean, we were very fortunate to come out and win that game. I think we was the best team, but coaching almost ruined that game for us. I'm happy. Be honest with you, I'm not really ecstatic like a lot of other people are because I expected to win the game, but just the way that game turned out a big lead, losing the lead, almost losing the game, but winning the game. I mean, it's football. It's SEC football. But in this case, the coach has a lot to learn. The coach has a lot to learn. And I hope someone talk to him. Being a coach, I hope that he would listen. Hope Coach Saban would talk to him because that was just horrendous. That was a terrible coaching display by him and the OC. But like I said, we got the win. I'm happy about that. But I'm just not too happy with the coaching style. You can tell that was Pac-10 coaching style right there. Because they're used to scoring. Even he went to the national championship last year with Washington. They are fast-paced offense. They want to run plays. And with a 30 point lead, well, when the score was 30, well, I think 33-7, and they got the ball back after stopping Georgia in the first half. It should have been a ground attack. And then they really didn't run the ball between the tackles a lot. I would have tried. They didn't do it that much. But you got to keep the clock running. I'm happy for the win. I'm hoping that we'll get better because the first half was a perfect game. I thought it was perfect. Defensive wise and offense, special teams, everybody. But the second half is something to forget. I think the one thing that happened in that game that was a detriment to Georgia, they kept going to what worked and they was victimizing those freshman corners. But if you keep doing the same thing over and over to a smart defensive back, they will eventually catch on, and that just what happened with the final interception that took place on that final drive of Georgia, because the guy was turning outside. He wasn't even locating the ball before that drive, but that particular play, he turned to the right side toward the defender and was able to find the football and make the interception. So it was a great game. It was a great atmosphere. I should have went to that game, but I went to the Georgia, the Atlanta Falcons game the week before, and we decided we'd have been at 2, so we decided we were just gonna take a break that week. But that would have been last night would have been a great game to attend. But that's all I want to say. I just wanted to give a little review. Oh yeah, I want to talk about the Colorado. I don't have to give Deion Sanders a little credit. I had been like minimizing his ability to be a good coach, but I think he is a really good coach. It's just all the extra stuff that kind of like to turn you off to him. I think his team is pretty good. I mean, is all the talk and showboating warranted? No, because you haven't played Alabama, you haven't played Georgia, you haven't played LSU, you haven't played Clemson, you haven't played Penn State, Ohio State. And if you can do, if his team can do some of the things they're doing against the conference they're in now against SEC teams, then my hat's off to him. But until you do that, no. And then I don't even think Hunter is a Heisman candidate. If you just want to go by numbers, I mean, look who you getting those. Look who he's getting those numbers against. He's not getting it against Alabama. He's not doing it against Georgia. He's not even doing it against Oklahoma, Texas, Auburn, Ole Miss. Hey, that's how I feel about it. But I will acknowledge he has a good team. He has some great players, but I don't think they're to the point to where he can strut around like he's strutting around. Well, that's my opinion about that. Ole Miss finally went down. I was in one of my previous videos where me and Dave was talking about some of the teams in the SEC who was scoring 60 and 70 points a game. Like I said, I knew that once they play a team with a half decent defense, those 60 and 50 points were going to dwindle down to 20 and 30 points, and their team gonna start losing. Just like when Tennessee played, was it Oklahoma? They didn't score 60 points, but they did have a better team than Oklahoma, so that was a well-earned win. They just had better athletes. The defense was better prepared than Oklahoma's offense, so they didn't score 60 points, but I think they scored 30, 20. They averaged half of what they usually average. So, but they still won the game. Just like Ole Miss yesterday, they played a good Kentucky team, and Kentucky is a really good team. I think if they had to beat Georgia, I think they probably would have been a top 18 if they had been undefeated. They have a really good team. Those guys are really well coached. Let's see who else. And just like Ole Miss was putting up 70 points. They played a good defense, and that 70 point turned into what is it, 17, 15? They didn't hard score any points yesterday. Way off their average. A good defense to do that to you. So I don't really. If you're not playing a top SEC team and you're scoring all them points, it's not you're not really doing anything until you play a top notch SEC team or a top 10 team. Who else I played yesterday? Auburn. I care about Auburn. Who else? Okay, well I ain't gonna be like that. Auburn had that game. I watched a little of that game. But actually, I watched the first half. And once the game got out of hand, Auburn was up by 21 to I think 7 or 10. I turned the channel because I thought the game was over with. I know Auburn has a good defense, and I thought that game was over with. And of course, it didn't turn out that way. Somehow they allowed Oklahoma to come back and win that game with a pick six. Um, Stuff like that happened. Alabama should have had two pick sixes yesterday. I mean, the ball just rolls some crazy ways sometimes in football. This is a very exciting season. I'm hoping Alabama go all the way. I want to go to the SEC championship game again. But like I say, it's a long season, very long season. But that's pretty much my take on that. This past weekend of college football, and I will see you all on the next video. If you have any comments, please comment in the comment section, and I'll get back with them. Get back with you with them. Yeah, I can't even say it right. I will get back, respond to the comments as soon as possible. Y'all have a good one.